Hey everyone, this is Nitro. In this video, I'm going to be doing Jugler's Awakening battles to get his 3C. So let's begin with his first awakening. Now, so I'm not going to really change up anything on Jugler. He'll have Triton, Great Dragon Barrier, and Beast Shock with Lobster Behemoths, and I'm going to begin. So the thing to note about my Jugler is, well, I'm going to move back initially and Triton out. And he does have the Thorns enchant, which could kick in against these enemies. But initially, which it just did. So I get to do some extra damage to Dios, not much though, because I didn't take much damage from him in the first place. So, what's next? Well, I am going to melee attack Dios here to weaken him. And then he's going to actually melee attack me back with a rout attack that stunned me. And then I'm stunned, so I can't do anything for this turn, and Emmerich gets to move closer. So next, I'm going to reactivate Triton. And then Emmerich, Thorns activated again. Oh, Emmerich also has routes. So once again, I'm stunned. But Triton is still up. So I get to do some decent damage to Emmerich this way. And why don't I just finish him off here? Oh wow, he activated a heavy shield, which kept him alive. But he'll die to the next attack. So then it's just the last opponent. I'm going to, I guess, Triton up, hanging back, because he's going to come charging down. Moving 5, I guess. Or not. I'm going to move back another one, and Great Dragon Barrier. So he's going to move down some more. And now I'm going to Beast Shock him. And I should be able to just one-shot Ultimuller this way. Yep. So there we go. Nice and easy. And the first awakening for 6 costs is complete, which doesn't really help Jugler himself because he has his exclusive helmet, right? That lets him use unlimited points for deployment. Nonetheless, it's unlocked, and it needs to be unlocked to get access to his second awakening. And there we go. So next, it's time to unlock Jugler's awakening skill, Sacred Beast Hymn. So let's get that one started. So here, you get to use Jugler, you're comboed with Lifini, Dihatto, and Tieres. And you're facing the same combo for the enemy. So not too much to say, I'm just going to get started by clicking attack. The one thing I should check is what skills Dihatto has. Well, Lifini has Tornado, Aim, and Acid Burn, so she can move 3, aim up to move 2 more, then target 1, 2, and 3. So where Jugler is safe, but I'm going to just have Jugler then Triton up on the spot. And I'll move my other characters back to avoid Lifini. And why don't I attack Blessing? Dihatto! In comes Lifini. And Lifini is actually not guarded because the enemy Jugler used Great Dragon Barrier. Interesting. Now, why don't I do this? I'm going to charge forward and Beast Shock. Because this way, I can have Lifini run forward and range attack Dihatto and finish Dihatto off. And then I can then have my Diharto. Onrush the enemy Lifiny and wipe it out. And finally, why don't I miracle up my party? So that went very, very well. Now I can't move due to what my opponent just did. That's fine. Let's continue to single target strike the enemy Jugler. And try to douse and hook him down. This attack blessing is so nasty. I might as well, I guess, Great Dragon Barrier, I guess. And have my Tiaras range attack the enemy Tiaras. So they used Holy Missile. Interesting. And my Lifiny's fixed damage basically destroyed the enemy Tiaras, just like that. And done. So this was actually one of the easier 3Cs to unlock. There we go. Awakening successful. So with Jugler's Awakening battle covered, I thought I would mention an interesting fact that was shown to me by JB. And this fact is that Jugler's Triton buff can get overwritten by Deedlit. So I'm just going to show it quickly by bringing it up in, I guess, Jormungandr, because Jormungandr uses no stamina. So I'm going to have Jugler along with Deedlit in this fight. So let's begin. And the first time I'm going to attack is I'm going to have Jugler Triton up next to Jormungandr. Right? And let's just end Deedlit's turn further away, like so. So Jugler takes a hit from Jormungandr, does some retaliation damage, you know. Pretty normal kind of situation, right? Alright, so I'm going to go back now. And for the second demonstration, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Jugler Triton up next to Jormungandr, just like before. But now I'm going to have Deedlit use her Elven Aura skill, which has the command effect of when all friendly units within 2 blocks move, all passable terrain is treated as forest. Right? Unit will not be affected by terrain mobility penalties, and after taking action, they restore 30% of their hit points. So I'm going to have her use this skill, and look. Jugler lost his Tidal Surge buff. And now he's considered in forest. So now the interesting or odd thing I should say there is for some reason Jugler didn't take any real damage just now from that hit. Honestly, not quite sure why. Neither did Deedlit just now. So neither of them took much damage from Jormungandr. Not exactly sure why that occurred, but the interesting thing here nonetheless is that Jugler is now considered to no longer be in water, right? He's lost that Tidal Surge buff. So, yeah. Just a interesting little mechanic that I thought I would share with you guys. And yeah, I mean, so I decided my character to attack a few more times just for the heck of it. But yeah, I'm just gonna retreat at this point. It's something you need to be aware of, that Deedlit's forest talent will remove people from being in water to being in forest. So with that demonstration quickly shown, I thought I would now do an example of Jugler actually in combat, with the 3C skill, because of how incredible it really is, right? The ability to, I'm quickly going to change up my Jugler so that he has that skill, and I'm gonna bring what is considered a common combo, which would likely be Triton, right? Sacred Beast him, and probably Beast Shock, although you might occasionally change to Great Dragon Barrier. It depends on the battle, of course. But before I go over Jugler's 3C in combat as an example, I should probably actually talk about what it does. So, the skill is called Sacred Beast Hymn, and the effect is that it allows Jugler to teleport to the skill's casting point and directly gain the Triton active effect, Great Dragon Barrier active effect, and Beast Shock enemy immobilization and guard effects. Then cast Master of Ice once. So it basically uses the active skills of pretty much all the skills he has access to, right? Triton gets actively used. Great Dragon Barrier gets actively used. Beast Shock gets its enemies cannot move or guard effect. And Master of Ice is casted. So it's just and you're teleporting yourself forward. So it's just an amazing combo 3C skill. And given that Jugler is allowed to bring all the points he wants due to his exclusive helmet, Jugler's Gift, that's why I can equip Sacred Beast him along with 2 other 2-point skills. So in terms of the range of the 3C, let's quickly just demonstrate that via, I guess, a Twisted Fate battle. Here I'll just use the General Geyer one, as usual. And quickly drop Jugler down. So I'm gonna have Jugler just teleport, right? Let's just shift over here and Triton up. Or sorry, Sacred Beast him up. So from this tile here, I can teleport 1, 2, 3 tiles ahead. So that's the teleport range. It's actually not as long as you would think, just 3 tiles. But keep in mind that your Jugler is going to move 3, then teleport 3 more, for a total of 6 tiles of movement, which is pretty significant, if you ask me, right? And then if I land the teleport, right, he does Master of Ice, right? The enemies are inflicted with being considered in water, and because I'm next to this guy, he has the Beast Shock cannot move and cannot be guarded effect. And finally, if we take a look at his buffs, right, I'm considered in water, and I take physical damage for friendly units within 2 blocks, right? I take magic damage for allies within 2 blocks, and attack is equal to 1.4 times magic defense, right? When in water, your attack is substituted for 1.4 times defense, can't be dispelled. Friendly units are immune to fixed damage, enemies with 1 block cannot move, So it's literally all the buffs that you would get from Triton and so on. The one thing I should mention though is because this skill is ultimately an active skill, right? You're not getting, the only reason I'm getting the conversion, that is when you're in water, your attack is substituted for 1.4 times defense. The only reason I'm getting that is because that is part of the Triton passive. When in water, converts 1.4 times defense into attack. Right? If you don't have this Triton skill, you don't get that increase of your attack value. So that's important to note. Right? That's why my attack is currently 1725. So what I'm going to do in this second example is completely remove the Triton skill from Jugler. And I'm going to use his skill once again. And then we'll see what Jugler's attack value is without the Triton effect. Right? So Master of Ice, far less damage, And the reason is because my attack is total garbage right now. And the reason my attack is total garbage is because I'm completely missing that conversion of attack is equals to 1.4 times defense value. So if you don't have Triton, Jugler doesn't work, long story short. I still have to take physical damage for friendly units from 2 blocks because that's its active effect, but I don't have the Triton passive effect. Alright, so these 2 demonstrations I feel did a pretty good explanation of Jugler and the way he works, especially with 3Cs and so on. So clearly, if you do use Jugler's 3C, he absolutely needs Triton, right? You're going to bring Triton, no matter what. You're going to bring the 3C, and then the last skill is kind of up to you, depending on the situation. I favor Beast Shock, but you can very easily bring, you know, I don't know, maybe Great Dragon Barrier, maybe Master Vice, maybe a faction buff, depending on the situation. Alright, so now let's move on to the example of Jugler in action with his 3C. Now, this is an example of Jugler being used with his 3C in an assault formation, and to prepare for the assault, player 1 now activates Valor's High Stakes so that the characters can heal up before combat begins. And the player 2 is playing defensive with Zerida having activated Bloodthirster, you know, Rachel and Yusuke already, Liana to act again, and Jugler who has both guard skills up for now, ready to protect. So, player 1's Jugler now activates his 3C skill, teleports forward, does AoE damage via Master of Ice, and gets both the Triton buff and the Great Dragon Barrier buff, as well as the Beast Shock mobility cannot move buff. So now, with Jugler positioned where he is, both Yusuke and Zerida can't move. So, Jugler takes a hit from Rachel and survives due to having all the buffs from the 3C. And now, player 1 uses Act Again on Yusuke to start moving him forward into range to attack the enemies. We see that he has his buffs up, so that he is ready to attack. And player 2 activates his Yusuke buff as well. And uses Act Again on his Rachel. So in the meantime, Deedlit moves forward, gets to act again, right, after using her AoE heal spell, and then attacks. Not enough damage to one-shot Jugler, but between her AoE, I guess, miracle skill, if you will, and her attack followed by Gift of Eternal Life, Jugler is healed to nearly full. So, player 2 knows he can't one-shot anything with any single target strike, right? Especially with Valor's high stakes buff available. So instead, chooses to use Arcane Blast to do AoE damage. And now, Jugler uses his Beast Shock to finish off the enemy Jugler. And because he used Beast Shock, Zerida and Yusuke remain unable to move. So, player 2 Yusuke attacks player 1 Yusuke, does not do enough damage to kill. The heavy infantry providing the plus 30% defense there most likely made a difference in keeping this Yusuke alive. And the Yusuke then moves up into Jugler's guard range and finishes off the enemy Zerida. So at this point, with this assault, right, 2 characters are dead for player 2. Jugler and Zerida, whereas player 1 has lost nobody yet. So this battle is effectively over. So this is just a great example of Jugler's assault formation working out incredibly well. And this was heavily won by Jugler's 3C because it locked down the enemy Zerida's movement, making that enemy Zerida unable to move, right? If that Zerida was able to move, she could have, charged forward, probably assassinated either Deedlit or Yusuke, and that would have changed the fight dramatically. But because of Jugler's 3C applying cannot move to enemies, that Juggler just could not attack that Zerda just could not attack anything, which made Jugler the MVP of this fight. At this point, I'm not going to play the rest of this battle because it's literally just mop up.